It begins in the sky, with two men falling from a hijacked plane blown apart midair, one singing like a Bollywood hero, the other plunging like a stone. This surreal opening sets the tone for Salman Rushdie's The Satanic Verses, a novel where reality bends, identities shift, and faith, migration, and storytelling collide. Published in 1988, the book quickly became one of the most controversial works of the 20th century. Rushdie, an Indian-born British author, was already known for blending magical realism with political and historical commentary. Here, he tackled themes of religious faith, cultural displacement, and the immigrant experience, but also included a fictionalized dream sequence inspired by early Islamic history, which many Muslims considered deeply offensive. The reaction would shape the rest of Rushdie's life. The two men in the novel. Jabril Farishta, a famous Indian film star known for playing Hindu deities on screen, and Saladin Kamcha, a voice actor who has embraced British culture and distanced himself from his Indian roots, survived the fall in miraculous ways. Jabril begins to take on angelic qualities, convinced he is the Archangel Gabriel. Saladin, meanwhile, finds himself transformed into a demonic figure, complete with horns and hooves. Their transformations aren't just physical, they symbolize the split identities and cultural tensions faced by many immigrants. Jabril, adrift in questioning his faith, becomes a conduit for visions or hallucinations that include some of the book's most controversial passages. Saladin, humiliated and alienated in England, wrestles with betrayal, racism, and his own sense of self. These visions form an essential and explosive thread in the novel. Rushdie imagines a city called Jahiliya and a prophet-like figure named Muhammad, echoing elements of Islam's early history but refracted through dream logic and allegory. The title refers to the so-called Satanic Verses, a disputed Islamic tradition suggesting that, under temptation, the Prophet Muhammad momentarily accepted verses endorsing pagan goddesses before rejecting them. Scholars debate the historical accuracy of this account, but Rushdie's fictional treatment was widely seen as blasphemous. Outside the visions, the real-world sections focus on the immigrant experience in Thatcher-era Britain. Rushdie depicts prejudice against South Asian communities, tensions between assimilation and heritage, and how exile can fracture identity. Saladin's estrangement from his father, Jabril struggles with mental health, and the surreal London they inhabit weave a story that is both personal and mythic. Stylistically, the novel is exuberant and dizzying. Rushdie switches between realism and fantasy without warning, layering prose with puns, historical references, and linguistic play. For some readers, this is exhilarating, for others, overwhelming. The style mirrors the novel's themes: fractured identity, cultural collision, and the unstable boundary between the sacred and profane. The backlash was immediate. In India, the book was banned within weeks for fear of communal unrest. Protests erupted in Britain, Pakistan, and elsewhere. In February 1989, Iran's Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini issued a fatwa calling for Rushdie's death, forcing him into police protection and years of hiding. Bookstores were firebombed, translators attacked, and the novel became central to debates on freedom of expression versus respect for religious beliefs. For all the controversy, The Satanic Verses is also a deeply human novel about love, betrayal, and belonging. Jabril's romance with a mountaineer named Alleluia Khan and Saladin's painful journey toward reconciliation with his roots give the book an emotional core beyond its controversies. Rushdie's characters are flawed, searching, often self-destructive, but always vividly alive. Reading the novel today, decades later, is to encounter not only literature but a historical artifact from a moment when a book could alter global discourse. In 2023, Rushdie was attacked on stage, a chilling reminder that the controversy's shadows remain. Yet the novel's endurance suggests its questions still resonate. Why does the Satanic Verses remain important? First, it confronts the complexity of living between cultures, an experience shared by millions in our interconnected world. Jabril and Saladin's transformations are messy, painful, and unresolved, just like real human identities. Second, it forces readers to grapple with the tension between art and offense. The book does not provide theological clarity, it uses allegory to explore how divine authority is received and contested. The anger it provoked raises enduring questions. Can literature critique or reimagine sacred history? Who decides what crosses the line? Finally, it is a testament to the power and risk of storytelling. Rushdie's blending of fantasy and reality shows how narratives shape perception. Stories can inspire, unite, and liberate, but they can also wound, provoke, and divide. The novel demonstrates both literature's potential and its consequences. In the end, the Satanic Verses is not an easy book. It demands patience, a willingness to be disoriented, and openness to complexity. It is about migration, faith, doubt, and the remaking of identity in exile. It is also about the power of words to tell stories, to spark movements, and to change lives. Reading it today means engaging with a work of literary history still alive in cultural imagination. Whether seen as a masterpiece, a provocation, or both, it challenges us to consider the boundaries of art, the fragility of tolerance, and the human need to belong between the earthly and the divine.